A to the K.
A to the K.
A to the K. Hello, welcome back to another fun-filled week of the A2theK Wrestling Show. It's Thursday, and you know what that means. We're late even for us at this point.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
One thing I remember when we set up the podcast and you look around and you go, okay, what advice can other popular podcasts give? And there's a few videos out there saying this. How do you gain success? And a lot of them say scheduling. Scheduling is the key one. So we went, fuck that.
Yeah, we'll just do it when we feel like. But without further ado, let's kick it off right, like we always do, by throwing it over to Road Dogg for A2theK's little known fact of the week.
Oh, you didn't know?
Beautiful. Now, in this week's unique segment, Anthony, we are going to be discussing what if the curtain call never happened. Obviously, the infamous incident in which, some events exposed the business, which has been widely discussed as a game-changing moment. But where was the fifth member?
I like it.
Where was the fifth member of the clique? The one and only X-Pac. Well, Anthony, did you know? Sean Waltman was on the Talk Is Jericho podcast not too long ago and stated he likely would have also been involved in the events of the clique curtain call fiasco in some capacity. However, it was just so happened to be around the time that he was sent to rehab after he ate a bunch of pills and decided to attend a production meeting. So, yeah, there you have it. Had X-Pac not have been in rehab, would he have been involved? And how might that have affected the aftermath of the curtain call?
Just makes you wonder, what if, man?
What if?
What if?
I'm sure we'll completely gloss over that part of it during the segments, but still. That was A2theK's little known fact of the week, and we'll pass you over to Road Dogg to play you out.
Oh, you didn't know?
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thanks, Road Dogg. It's
He's
nice that you've been a part of our podcast for so long and still have no idea.
I honestly think it's just impressive how flawless he sings it every single week.
Single week.
Always in tune, and it's beautiful. But Anthony, yes, we are talking This Week in Wrestling. Bit late, obviously, so something like this really is Last Week in Wrestling, but still, let us kick
that week in wrestling
off. Some week.
When Halloween happened, guys, just for full clarity.
Yeah, basically. But let's kick it off with the WWE. Let's talk some highlights, not that there were many. Firstly, Raw, I want to talk the ladder match. I think,
okay.
It was solid. It was always going to be, you look at who was involved. It was a strong main event for the show. A lot of big spots, a lot of near wins, and there was times where, I didn't know who was going to win, to be honest with you. But obviously Seth picks up the win, and we now have something quite new in terms of a feud in WWE, not another crazy rematch that we've seen 100 times. So it looks like we're going to get Seth versus Big E at some point for the belt.
The match I never knew I wanted in a way.
I mean, if you're going to have Big E as your champ, get me invested by at least having someone like Seth Rollins.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think that's what's going to help Big E a ton, because I was all for Seth v Roman at some point, which may still happen down the line, but it is something we've had before. Seth Big E. I mean, I'm sure we've had it at some point, maybe in NXT days. I don't recall it, but if anything can elevate the guy, that's going to be it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if anything can elevate them, it's going to be ladders, and that's why this match was so good, I think. So, Anthony, next highlight for this week.
Okay, just a quick one from me, Carl. Just Shotzi getting some time on the main roster, or on screen even, and as part of the main feud as well. I think that was good. Obviously, she's bags and bags of talent, and we just not got to see a lot of her since leaving NXT, which has been a shame. So hopefully this is the start of something big.
Yeah, I agree, to be honest. I think, obviously, she still comes out in a silly little tank, which, isn't the greatest of entrances, in my opinion.
Almost but like a travel-sized game.
Yes, almost. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting the fact that they've turned a heel, if you can call it a heel turn at this point. But the fact she's getting a little bit of momentum, she's in a singles feud, doesn't look like she's going to be doing tag team stuff anymore. I don't know. It was nice. It was refreshing, and it's about
Good to
time.
see them abandoning tag teams again.
Well, yeah.
Classic
I mean,
format.
it is pointless having them belts at this point, isn't it? I think we say it every week, but still. But yeah, it's nice to see a fresh face, almost in terms of the main event kind of women's mix. So I concur. And the final highlight this week for WWE, Anthony, is...
That's right. That's how quick it was, guys. Blinking, you missed it.
And it's not even that much of a highlight, to be fair. Everyone knows I am a big Drew McIntyre fanboy. I'm liking the open challenge stuff so far. So, obviously, we are going to be heading towards Roman versus Drew. You would like to think that's going to happen potentially, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania time. So
we're hearing rumours that Brock wants to have another little bit of back and forth with Drew as well, don't we? So,
well, yeah, I'll be down for
I
it.
smell a triple threat.
Oh God. Yeah, that means Drew's eating the fucking pin then, doesn't it? But yeah, an open challenge. I've always been quite a big fan of it. When John Cena did it, when Cody was doing it as the TNT champ, and Drew coming out and doing it now. Like, does he need to do it? No. He's a former WWE champ. He probably deserves a shot. They drafted him over for that reason, I would imagine. But if it helps us bridge the gap between now and WrestleMania in terms of getting him to do some other stuff, obviously we're going to go into Survivor Series. I imagine him and Roman won't happen then, obviously, because it's an interbrand thing. So I think they're going to try and hold off on it for quite a while. So this is a nice way to do it, and hopefully it's going to build him back up a little bit after the fans, turned on him based on what he had to do in his time on Raw. So
Turned on him. You're too damn successful. We hate you now.
Well,
Thanks, universe.
It's one of them, isn't it? Wrestling fans are interesting at this point because if you're a good guy, we can't like you because you're good, and we like the baddies now. And it's like, well, okay, what are you meant to do then? What are you meant to do?
Who even fucking knows?
Yeah, just don't have good guys or bad guys anymore. Just have, you've got no gimmicks anymore. Just have two guys just stood there punching each other. That's what people
Wait a
want.
minute. That's boxing.
Oh shit, yeah. We're watching the wrong sport. That explains it. Hang on a minute.
Going up next week.
There's no punching in boxing anyway. It's just dancing around and hugging each other.
Oh, trying to get heat from a whole different community here, Carl.
Maybe. I
How
mean,
dare you say that Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury is going to be anything other than an actual slugfest?
Yeah, actually, yeah, you've.
I know. Like again, I
wrong.
feel like we're going to get heat for that. I know it's not real boxing, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair,
Probably going to get heat for that. It's definitely real boxing. I love Jake Paul.
Yeah, real boxing, real money making boxing. Yeah,
Weeks of talking, minutes of fighting. That's what we like to see.
it's more like swimming. To be fair, I think all the dives. Hey. So yeah, that was WWE's highlights this week. Do you? No, you don't, because it's my name's against it.
You're like, I'm having it all.
Do you want to let me talk about the first highlight? Yes, you do. So, as
Yeah,
much as I was a fan of the ladder match, the main event, I wasn't a fan of how we got there. It was the most redundant, lazy booking I've seen, even by WWE standards, in a long time. It was like, oh, well, I've won some belts. And then someone else comes out and goes, I won some belts too. No, you two won belts, but I won belts. And then someone else comes out and is like,
Hogan struts out like, did someone say belts?
Like, again, another tangent. I think it might have been on Reddit or something. I saw this morning, but someone made an absolutely fantastic quip about Hulk Hogan, and it was something like, Hulk sleeps on top of the blankets because he won't even let them get over. And I was just like, fucking yes.
That is quality.
But yeah, so I was not a fan of this lazy ass booking. It was cringy, wasn't it? And it's like, no offense to the guys who came out, but it was almost like, well, yeah, okay, you've won some belts, but it's not really, so's Big E, It's like,
honestly, at this point, it's like, haven't we all?
Exactly. But yeah, it just felt.
Especially with the 24/7 title, like R-Truth could legitimately come out there and go, "I'm a 46-time champ." Like,
it's very well, exactly. That proves
nothing in this company anymore.
That proves how redundant the whole point of it was. But yeah, an interesting mix, though, to be fair, in terms of who was involved in it. But
yeah, it's just getting to that point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quick question: who's the US champion?
Damian Priest.
Okay. Who's the IC title?
Who's the IC title? His name's Steve.
Who is the IC title? Who is he? That life-size one. Who's the IC title holder?
Is it Nakamura? I don't know.
I don't even know anymore.
It was Apollo for a bit, wasn't it?
it?
I don't think he is. No, he hasn't got it anymore.
Do you remember when you loved that belt? Do you remember when you loved that title?
Yeah.
Remember?
I do.
Remember, Carl? Remember the good old days?
I remember. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll move over to my one. And I don't think this would be any surprise because we moaned about this before anyone fucking did it. It's Queen Selena, and not an issue with Selena herself. The fact that let's go for a gimmick. I hate that you can't win a tournament without it suddenly becoming all about your character. So now we have Queen Selena, and not just Queen, but with a British accent too, for some fucking reason. No, all kinds of no. Can't she just be like the Queen of the Ring, or are they even allowed to say Queen of the Ring now? We're not in Saudi. I don't know, but she can still, be like a heel character and lap up the fact that she won that tournament without becoming a queen. It's the same. Like, how long are we going to be stuck with this? We had King Corbin for ages.
It is just the most pointless thing ever now. It's ironic because obviously, as we're talking about in segment 3 this week, we're talking about the curtain call and how that potentially impacted the likes of Stone Cold going on to win King of the Ring. Could you imagine fucking King Fang McFrost comes out? He's like, "Oh, my royal subjects." No, you couldn't imagine that, could you? Because it's fucking stupid. So why is it okay to do that now?
I mean, they did try King Mabel. Let's not forget that.
God, that was pathetic, wasn't it? But yeah, like the whole thing is it's just silly. I don't winning a tournament doesn't mean you are actually a king or a queen.
I take a lot of umbrage to it as well because she wasn't really. They hadn't done anything with her, but she wasn't a floundering character that needed some direction.
No,
she was fairly. She was a really good villain. We saw that with everything she was doing when she was managing Andrade and like. That all they had to do was put her into a good program with somebody. Now they're like, well, you need a gimmick, and she didn't need a gimmick. And I don't know.
The whole concept of it is shite, and it's so annoying because I'm a big fan of King of the Ring, a big fan of the fact that they brought the women into it this time as well. But yeah, the output of making them royalty at the end of it is fucking stupid.
I think they should just all be honest about it and like try their absolute best to lose the tournament because nobody wants the fucking gimmick.
Yeah,
I'd still watch that tournament. That'd be funny as well.
yeah, me too. To be fair, the next one. This might just be me being a little bit, just I don't know, too harsh potentially. But can they get any more on the nose at this point? Right, I feel like everyone's getting new theme musics and all this other shit. Right, Damian Priest now has a new entrance. And it's like a half and half thing. His nameplates are half and half. There's Titantron's half and half. And it's like Damien, all dark, and Priest, all light. And it's like, son of the devil, and a holy person.
Someone backstage in designers and just picked up on that like very recently and been like, ha! And that's how it's come across.
Hey guys, did any of you realize that Damien is the what is he, the son of Satan or son of the devil or whatever? And the priest, they're holy people. That's like light and dark. Yeah, let's do this. No.
Fucking love it. It's when like the ghost got that little step too far for your car and he has like the devil god, Damian Priest. You're gonna be so pissed.
I am.
They love some bullshit nicknames at the minute.
Yeah. I don't get what it is.
They don't like surnames still though.
But you say that, and while it didn't make the news this week, they've added a surname to one of the guys in Jinder Mahal's entourage, haven't they?
Yep, so impactful that we remember his first and surname.
Yeah, I was hoping you might be able to help me out there. That guy.
I hope you as well.
Is he called Veer? Is he called Veer or something like
that? I'm not sure which of his entourage was given the additional name, but it could have been Veer. And I'm not going to research it. Yeah, that happens, guys, and no one cares.
Yep, that is true. So yeah, maybe a little bit too critical, from my side there. But come on, I don't get, like, everyone's getting new entrance musics again now, and they're all generic as fuck, and they're taking any ounce of uniqueness or stuff about the character, and they're just so on the nose with everything they do. It is literally like they're saying, this show is watched by complete and utter morons. We need to make things so
this is the
clear.
I don't want to come at him again, like I have a big problem with it because he's actually been really good in recent weeks. But like, this is the exact issue I've had with Lance Archer's nickname. That they're just throwing shit out there that they think sounds cool.
Yeah, murder.
Stop it. Stop
Hawks,
trying to sound like,
monsters.
you can't just throw words out that you think attributes to a person, or you in some cases you want it to attribute to them, so you just throw it out there anyway.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, even with Damian Priest, what was he, the Archer of Infamy or something? And he used to come out and shoot an imaginary bow. So it's not like this.
Yeah, that was better than the whole thing they're doing now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was never stellar, and it certainly isn't stellar now either. But yeah, I just don't get the need for all the change.
Damian, man, he's the type of guy who'll lend you his pants if you really need them, and
that is true.
Respect to that man. Respect to him.
Yeah, I heard that Rhea ripped him though, which is
that's just disrespectful, isn't it? We're learning a lot about Rhea Ripley now.
Yeah.
Anyway. My one, Carl. And I feel like I mention him every week now, so again, nothing against him really, but the direction at the moment. Mustafa Ali, Carl, to remove the suspense from you. Why am I moaning about him? Because are we really going to go down another racism gimmick? Well, certainly it seems like what? Just...
It is really ridiculous now at this point, isn't it?
What is this? 2003?
But no, like they just got a fetish for it, haven't they? Like they can't overlook it. Like anybody, who is from like the Middle East or like from, I mean, he's not even from there. He's fucking grew up in Chicago. But like anyone who is Middle Eastern, anyone who's Middle Eastern is just like, let's make it about that, and it's like, well, why?
It's like just backstage, like, how well can you say death to America?
Exactly.
But to be honest, it's not even like anyone who's not like your typical American, like Hulk Hogan, real American. Like, it doesn't matter if you're actually American to them; they're gonna try and do this gimmick on you. Do you remember well, you guys are actually Canadian, so we're gonna do like a whole thing about you guys not being Americans? It's like, why?
Well, yeah.
Why is this a thing still?
You're like un-American.
You're like un-American.
Yeah.
Or what was Rene Dupree and thingies, Sylvia and Grenier? What was their tag team called? They were
La Resistance.
La Resistance, because obviously they're French and they hate America. Like,
and then Sylvain Grenier got injured or released or whatever, so they brought Rob Conway in, who is American, and so that made sense.
Now hates America. I mean. It's weird, actually, that they book constantly to suggest that like anyone who's not from America hates America.
Yeah, it's almost like are they imposing that upon people who aren't from America? You must hate us,
I'll
right?
show them.
Yeah. But no, look, I think Mustafa Ali is a fantastically talented individual, and even his shit Sub-Zero cosplay was significantly better than any of the shite he's been doing, whether it was Retribution, whether it's this thing now. Again, he should have been the hacker, should have been cool. That never happened, and
that was like an afterthought. Like, by the way, I was the hacker.
Yeah, it was like we.
Oh, okay.
You mean we didn't explain that? You mean it wasn't Hornswoggle? Shit, what are we going to do? Mustafa Ali. That's what people thought it was. Go with that.
Like, by the way, I was the Mystery Raw GM. Like,
and I was the Vince's real illegitimate son. Like, for fuck's sake. And also, I did it for The Rock. No, he wasn't Rikishi at all.
I broke the walls down. Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I concur. Stupid, fucking anti, fucking weird racism angle thing. Yeah. Speaking of things that need to happen, and we were very critical about the Queen's Crown kind of coronation stuff.
Only right to do the same.
Only right to do the same. Xavier Woods. What even was this, right? There was a point I thought that they were like leading up to Kofi, almost like doing a heel turn or something. And then, no, this week, you're going to bend over on your knees like a bitch and I'm going to coronate you. And it's like, okay.
Like, wasn't the coronation right after the tournament?
Well, exactly. So, Woods has already been, already had his coronation. He came out again. He's fucking, again, having another coronation. Now he's like knighting Kofi or something. He's, bestowing some honor upon him.
I feel like we can offer some expertise here, Carl, because obviously we're British. We know a thing or two about coronations because, of course, we have Coronation Street. Yeah. So, we understand how this stuff's meant to work, and you don't have 7.
Oh, exactly.
You have 1.
exactly.
Maybe 2. I don't know.
It was the Rover's return of coronations, I say. So
anyway, honestly, like they've missed the mark a couple of times here now for me. Like, and I'm made up for Xavier, right? For the reasons I've always said, that he really wanted to be, or he wanted this on his sort of bucket list, and he wanted to be King of the Ring, right? But the fact that we didn't ultimately lead to Xavier versus Kofi in the tournament, and the fact that we're still like you say, everything felt like this could be a point when Kofi could maybe turn on him, or he could be arrogant and turn on Kofi. Whatever sets up a feud between them two, I think we're ready for that, and they keep sort of avoiding it. And it's like, I think we're going to get to a point that people are going to get frustrated that they're not pulling the trigger on it. You know, you know.
Yeah. I concur. I concur. I
can
care less
as well.
I can care less. Yeah. So yeah. I think you're talking about the next one and the shit show that it was.
Yeah, I mean, I can do. No, well, that's pretty much the nail on the head, Calm. The next one for me was Naomi and Shayna Baszler, and the fact that it was a shit show, a total shit show.
Fucking botch fest.
Yes, very disappointing. I mean, people have been so behind Naomi getting some sort of push. I don't know if this technically counts as a push, but like when basically your screen time's executed like this, it's not great. And I'm not blaming anyone, to be honest, for that. I just think they're not. Again, it's all directionless, isn't it? It's directionless and meaningless, and I don't know. It didn't work. It didn't work for me.
No, same. I want so much to be able to root for Naomi. I think she's super talented. This was awful, and the same for Shayna Baszler. You know, the way that she's now part of this angle and stuff like that, just none of it works. The whole Sonya Deville aspect of it as well. The big payoff's meant to be what? Naomi versus Sonya Deville. It's like, if anything, I'd rather see Sonya Deville versus Shayna Baszler. The two legit former MMA fighters. Like, let's do that. You know, that angle kind of writes itself.
I didn't know that about Sonya.
Yeah. She was MMA before she got to WWE.
Wow.
Insert other 3-letter thing here. But yeah, so, OMG. I mean, neither of them were any good. Just putting it out there. But
I don't know enough about UFC, but I know you're our resident UFC mark, so they were both actually quite bad in UFC. Yeah.
So Shayna Baszler was in the UFC briefly, and she had a torrid record. Sonya never made it to the UFC, but
she did like Bellator stuff.
She wasn't amazing. Just like other MMA promotions, I think. I don't even think she made it to Bellator, but she did do MMA before she went on Tough Enough.
Nice.
So
neither of them quite got a record like CM Punk.
Yeah, that's the GOAT. You know, it's hard to compare anybody to that.
Yeah, that's the upper echelon.
And so the last shite for WWE this week. Turns out, Anthony. You really notice when your biggest, star on SmackDown isn't on the fucking show. Where's Roman this week? They didn't even talk about where he was, really, did they? They had a little thing with Heyman backstage, and he was,
he's what's his face is suspended, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
Well, yeah. Did you not think it was a bit odd? I thought it was a bit odd, just no mention of him whatsoever.
I mean, like you say, it's one of them things where it's funny, because if you think about old school, right? If your big champ wasn't on the show that week, that wouldn't actually even be out of the ordinary. Like, they weren't seen all the time. They weren't seen on a weekly basis. Some of the when Punk was doing his the people are grateful, bitter type gimmick in WWE, some of the stuff he was saying was kind of true about the work he had to put in, week out, was not the same as champions from back in the day. So when you look at it like that, it's weird that we can look at this now and go, where's the champ? Where's the big main guy? But that, again, it falls right down to WWE and the way they book, because all we're doing is seeing the weakness of the show without him. Yeah. So you're totally right. It felt weird, but I firmly believe it shouldn't. We shouldn't have a world like this. We should have a world where the show is still entertaining.
But Anthony, the show didn't open up with Roman Reigns talking in the ring. I didn't know what was happening. It scared me.
Where are we gonna go? What are we gonna do? But yeah, I agree. It is kind of strange, but it does really point out that, like, and I've said this for a while, and apologies, because I know some people love SmackDown and they say about how SmackDown's the best show on WWE programming and in wrestling in general. But the bottom line is, if you take out the Roman Reigns stuff, it's actually almost as weak as Raw.
Oh, it's awful without the Roman stuff. Like, it's horrendous. It is literally full of just mid-level talent who just aren't interesting. So, I mean,
And
now
that's the bottom line.
I mean, they've obviously had the superstar shake-up, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, the draft. But, you know, that means we've now got Drew over there, which is cool. But then, like, who else came over where we were like, yay? No one.
Hang on.
I mean, was Seth? No,
Wait,
Seth's
hang on.
on Raw now.
No.
Yeah,
SmackDown got
there you
shafted.
go.
Yeah.
So, Anthony, what would you score WWE's programming for this week?
Honestly, and people will have noticed there's a distinct lack of NXT. That was by design. Halloween Havoc, while can usually be fun, didn't really hit the mark for me in general, so there was not any particular highlights. And in actual fact, I avoided O'Shites, which to me is being generous, because there were a good few botches within the show. And people have now decided that it's a developmental program again.
Oh, cool. That's good
Which
to know.
is nice. It's only now that I got absolutely trounced by AEW that they can call themselves developmental again, whereas before that was an insult.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't keep up with the rules anymore. But anyway, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be forgiving. So I didn't highlight or shite them. But that being said, the overall program for WWE this week, with as weak as NXT was, and there wasn't really a great Raw, I'd probably have to give it a 2 if I'm honest.
Do you know what? I'm probably going to even go lower. I'm going to give it a 1.5.
Carl, just a straight savage this week.
Other than the main event on Raw, I'm really struggling to find anything I even liked about any of the product this week. To your point, Halloween Havoc didn't even feel like Halloween Havoc. It was just because it was around Halloween. They went, oh yeah, we normally brand these things. It was average. It was really, didn't feel like a special episode at all, to be fair. So yeah, that was very bland. Raw was atrocious except for the main event, and SmackDown. Yeah, what's SmackDown without Roman Reigns? Not a lot, apparently. So 1.5 for me.
Wow. A strong, bold statement from Carl.
Certainly.
And obviously, we are impartial. We do not play favourites. We assess every show fairly and definitely don't prefer one over the other. So let's talk about AEW, Carl.
Okay, so on to my favourite show.
You took over the fucking O'Shites last time. I'm having this. Right, I'm starting AEW here. My show now. Right. So, Carl, highlights for AEW this week, or last week, depending on when you're listening to us, or 7 weeks ago, depending on when you're listening to us. Highlights for me, first one, straight out the gates. Really great opener, as we have come accustomed to with AEW, if we're being honest. Punk versus Bobby Fish. I think, again, a lot of people are moaning about Punk's running AEW at the moment. I don't mind it at all. He's coming in, he's finding his feet, he's shaking off the rust. Why throw him straight into a big storyline? Didn't need to. And the reason I say that is because he's just having a few different matches with different people. There's no real story behind them. I mean, there's a little bit of story behind the Bobby Fish thing because the previous week they kind of set it up. But the point is, good match between two, I dare say, veterans. I didn't realise Bobby Fish had 18 years worth of in-ring experience, to be honest, until AEW, but there you go. All in all, though, banger of a match. They both really put on a great show and a great opener, to be fair. I'm more than happy with it.
Yeah, just consistent from AEW, isn't it? Just they always start the show super strong with a solid match that gets you just hyped up, and this was no different. CM Punk a curtain jerker in AEW.
Yeah.
It's like madness. But yeah, like you can't fault it. It was a very stylistically, I think they work quite well with each other as well. So
they do actually really compliment each other in the ring.
Yeah, I couldn't fault it. I thought it was a really good showing. Onto my next highlight.
Of course, this is your
Of course it is. I fucking love MJF. Just saying it. I just love the guy. So a very quick squash match, which shows that yes, he can go in the ring. He's not just a mic guy, but my God, is he a mic guy? Fantastic promo. Absolutely obliterates the crowd like he has been doing every single week. And then obviously it's him, Wardlow, and he's got Sean Spears now in the mix as well, obviously part of the Pinnacle. And then all of a sudden Sting's music starts playing and they're all like, oh God. And then it turns out MJF and Sean Spears were in on it, but Wardlow clearly was not, because he's looking at them like, what the fuck? And it's these little nuances about AEW that I fucking love, because that's what makes the difference. That thing in itself has just planted another seed that's going to be, you know, shown in like the highlight reel, like the package that hypes up when Wardlow and MJF finally have their falling out. It's these little things like this which is just building up a library of like, oh shit, yeah, you know, you can see now, you know, how those two ended up going their separate ways and stuff. So,
but of course, you know, it's taken too long.
yeah, there's that. You know, why aren't they fighting every week?
Why can't we just rush through everything? Why can't he have fallen out the week after they got like together as a team?
That's it. CM Punk should have come straight in, and his first match should have been against Kenny Omega. We should have had Bryan Danielson come in as well. He should have been, you know, fucking fighting everybody at the top. Moxley straight away. You know, what's going on?
Exactly.
But
it's just ridiculous that they take so long to tell a fucking story. I mean, do they not realise that we only watch it once in a while?
Exactly. Like, you know, if anything, just in case we have missed it, they should probably have the same match, you know, at least 10 times over the space of about a month, I think.
Exactly. I'm already pissed off that we're not going to get a Punk Bobby Fish rematch like this week.
What's that about? You know, I mean, it should have been on the Rampage. You know, it should have been on the same week, really.
Should have been the same night.
It should have been. But no, joking aside, I absolutely love this again from MJF. And then eventually when that music does play and it is them, like, they missed a massive opportunity here. They should have done a throwback to that time Sting was wearing a Sting mask and took it off and it was Sting. And it was just like the stupidest shit ever. They should have done that with Darby. But obviously...
You say stupidest, that's like clever like a fox, don't it? Because like you wouldn't expect Sting to be behind a Sting mask.
Well, exactly. But at the same time, it's just like, what the fuck? It's like, they should have done a throwback there for Darby. But, you know, either way, that was awesome. And fucking hell, man. They've been brutal this week. So obviously Darby had his skateboard full of thumbtacks. Absolutely twatted Wardlow over the back with it. And my God. No wheels, just thumbtacks. I'm
just saying it's not going to work very well down the ramp, you know.
This is true. But yeah, so just all in all, fantastic little segments, loads of little seeds planted as well for the likes of Wardlow and MJF in the future, and it accelerates a match that I can't wait to see between Darby and MJF. Like, I legit cannot wait to see that. It's probably one of the matches I want to see the most of Full Gear after Kenny and Hangman. So
Kenny and the Hangman, indeed. Yeah, I'd agree with that. So, Carl, I think it's fair to say, and honestly, and this is no disrespect at all when I say this, I wasn't expecting this to be a highlight, but again, they impressed me with the work together, and that was Sammy Guevara versus Ethan Page. And you know, I've a lot of time for Sammy. I think he's definitely a future champ. We've discussed this, but well, he is a champ now, but you know what I mean, like a real champ, not a TNT one. That's right, Tony Khan. Go for no, just kidding. Sorry. Yeah, like, I know Tony doesn't judge them as the mid-card title, but it's your IC title of Dynamite, isn't it? Let's be honest. Anyway, slight digression. The pair of them put on a match that impressed me enough that it needed to be a highlight, basically. I think they worked really well together. It was a really good match. All in all, yeah, definitely deserves a shout out on the highlights.
Agreed. I haven't been the biggest fan of Ethan Page since he got to AEW, to be honest. I was a bit like...
That's probably what made me think he wasn't like. It's probably why I'm surprised it's a highlight. Is more Ethan Page than Guevara, and that's no offense to Ethan Page, but just it's not a match. I was like, oh yes, I need to see that, but I've come out of it going, that was a really good match. So that tells you something.
No, Sam. I mean, I think this was one of Sammy's better matches he's even ever had at this point, and he's had some absolutely brilliant ones. I think he's just so good in what he does. He's crazy how agile he is. It's crazy. You know, the stuff he can do in the ring, and you know he's continuing to hone his character, and you know he's putting on even more like muscle mass and size and stuff like that. If you watch the very first episode of Dynamite, it was him and Cody.
Oh, he's getting bigger.
Yeah, big men slapping meat. But you know, it's mad that he's still able to do all the stuff he's doing while you know starting to look even more of like a main event caliber kind of guy as well. So. Thoroughly thought it was a great match. The next one to talk about rematch: Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida. This was fucking brilliant again. So obviously the first time they had that match, and then it was Serena's kind of heel turn, stopping Shida from getting a 50th win. This time Shida managed to pick up the win, so it's a 1-1 between the two of them. But you know, you talk about AEW and women's wrestling and blah blah blah. Like these two just go to show that they have got a really good roster there, and you've got people who can put on a fantastic match.
I think this is, to me, though, it's the funny thing. Like people still try and put down their women's division, but I think there's a lot to be said for quality over quantity. You can throw shit ton of women's matches that are shite, as tends to happen in WWE, or you can actually put some really good work in there, which we're getting with the likes of Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida. Yeah. And obviously, we also have other women's matches that I think I mentioned in our highlights this week as well, Carl.
Yes, we do.
But I mean, Serena Deeb, man. Like, I don't know why I feel bad that she went under my radar for so long. I'm only recently realising just how fucking awesome she is and how much work she's put in over the years. And I think obviously because we're trying to do this podcast and trying to educate ourselves a little bit more about things, I'm actually going like, oh fucking hell. She's had like quite a history with even with WWE. She was a trainer. She's done a fucking lot, man. She's an absolute legend. And that stuff I might have just overlooked had I've remained a casual viewer instead of like an awesome podcaster,
I mean, I think you're right.
Plug.
She is massively underrated. I know when we did the Serena face morph thing on TikTok, like people didn't even realize that she was part of the Straight Edge Society all the way back then.
I know, but I mean, again, it's very easy done, isn't it? Like we're looking at it now, like how do you not know? But it's like, well, yeah, you could easily not know. To be fair, if you weren't paying attention. It's insane. It is insane. I'm still waiting for that little nod between her and Punk, to be honest with you. But
yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that. Like they need to do things like that. But I never knew how good she was in the ring until she got to AEW. And I think
that's the thing. Like I don't think because we didn't really follow the indies a great deal. So I think if you'd have only seen WWE and AEW, AEW is what's showing how good she is in the ring. I don't think we ever really got to see that in WWE.
No.
And that's no offense to them. Storylines at the time, and then she was gone, and then she was in more of a backstage capacity in the Performance Center and that sort of thing. So I'm not even insulting WWE. Like you didn't use it properly or any of that bollocks. It's just this has been the display of her in-ring ability for me. And again, I feel bad that I didn't know how awesome she was before now.
Agreed. But now we do, and it's all good.
Yeah, it is. Funnily enough, this match is actually what's playing on my TV in the background now. For those who want a bit of a fun fact about our podcast.
There you go.
Why do I leave the TV on? I don't know. It's nice. You see big movement, Anyway, my next one, Carl, the 8-man tag match. It was ridiculous. I fucking loved it. What needs to be said? It needs to be a highlight. It was always going to be chaos and fun, and it was chaos and fun.
Yeah, people have been losing their shit about this. Like, oh, this was in WWE. Like, it was ridiculous. Of course, it was ridiculous. You had the Super Click coming out dressed like the Ghostbusters. You had fucking, all the Dark Order dressed up like a bunch of idiots as well. But it was fantastic, and I loved the swerve with Hangman. I fucking loved it. It was hilarious.
Yeah. Indeed.
So
I think it's funny, like people have actually likened this, right? It's little things like this that bug me, right? And I hate the comparison WWE and AEW anyway. Cause I'm just like, I enjoy both. I watch both. I know we have to make the comparison sometimes because we're trying to, talk about stuff that's going on, and a lot of it is them against them, like Tony Khan making wild tweets and stuff like that. But the bottom line is, like, this was a Halloween show. The same reason I didn't moan at all about NXT this week is the same reason I'm not moaning about them having a gimmicked Halloween-y kind of thing going on. Like, this isn't WWE with random zombies. This isn't what this was. And people are comparing it like that. Like, oh, you all complained when the zombies come out. It's like, yeah, because that was out of fucking nowhere and had no fucking point.
Well, exactly.
It's not the same.
I mean, to be fair, WWE did a fucking Halloween thing as well, didn't they, with pumpkins around the ring and everything this week. So, but again, you didn't hear a single complaint out of me when WWE did stuff like that, or when Tommaso Ciampa dressed like Kratos or whatever. You don't hear a single moan out of me when it's relevant to Halloween. When I watch a pay-per-view and there's randomly zombies for no fucking reason, I'm going to moan about that shit. Well, it's even that, like the pettiness of it, because obviously Alan Angel's dressed up as Kratos as well, and they're comparing him versus Ciampa's costumes and stuff, and like, oh, when you order Kratos from Wish about AEW and stuff like that, and it's like, well,
really, like, because people like who wore it better and stuff, and it's like, well, Tommaso didn't really. I don't want to get into it. Like, he wore the outfit, but he didn't really, like. The more accurate Kratos was actually Alan Angels, wasn't it? Really, we're being honest, right?
Well,
but I don't want to get into all that because I'm more like, do you remember that? And my head always goes to this little meme of JD and Scrubs, like nobody cares, Sean. And that's where I am with it. It's like nobody cares. They're all having fun. They're all wearing the Halloween outfits because it's Halloween. Get the fuck over it, guys.
Exactly. So yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I loved how silly it all was. Even Colt Cabana with this little cold spray being Cutler, and then the big swerve where they thought it was Cutler in the fucking giant inflatable outfit, and it turned out to be Hangman. Like, loved it. So yeah, say what you want, but yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, indeed, in fucking deed. Another little moan I need to have as well is people talking about people who've only just rocked up on AEW, as far as I'm concerned. Like, apparently he's been a couple of months now. It doesn't feel like that, but whatever. Like, people are moaning about Adam Cole already. Like, oh, he's being wasted. It's like, he's not being wasted. He's not done anything yet. Can you honestly not see a feud coming between him and Omega? Because that's where I think it's going.
Well, yeah, it's pretty fucking obvious, isn't it?
Right? But no, we're all getting impatient. It's like, he's being wasted. He's just in some sort of hokey stuff with this super click stuff. It's like, that's not the long-term goal, you knobs.
It's Sorry. Honestly, it is insane. It is so much like a state of one-upmanship in WWE, isn't it? It's, oh well, we put on this fantastic match with these two people that people wanted to see this week.
Do you know what?
How can we top that?
On some level, though, it's not even the WWE thing. There's some people who are so willing to hate, and it's not even like, I get general fans are always going to have their opinions, and we won't always agree with them and stuff like that. But like, sorry to bring it up on the show, but like Bischoff, he's already making comments about Punk being wasted and stuff like that. It's like, Jesus Christ, let them actually join the fucking program. You've barely been there yet, and we're talking about like them being wasted, and it's just because they don't want to like AEW, and it's like, get over it, just wait and see what happens, man.
There is no way Punk is wasted because he's straight edge. So there you go, Bischoff, you're full of shit. But yeah, no, I was I was watching the Broken Skull sessions with Bret Hart as the guest last night, and he talked about WrestleMania 13 and how that match wasn't even meant to happen. Him and Austin weren't even meant to face each other so soon. Like, they wanted to play that out much longer between the two of them. And obviously we saw what a fucking fantastic match it was, but even back then in WWE, like the likes of Bret and stuff, they knew the value of long-term storytelling. And the problem is, when you just throw everything at it straight away, that's how you end up, well, yeah, these guys have faced each other 80 times. Why do I want to see another one?
The thing is, people will always find a way to complain. Like, Bischoff's made this comment about Punk, right? But let's say AEW saw what they had in Punk as a legend and just threw him in the middle of every big storyline or whatever, or threw him just straight in the main picture. That would have been something to moan about as well. Like, we were in the middle of storylines and they've just all been totally railroaded because we've got Punk now. That's the kind of shit you would have got. But you ease Punk in like this, and he has a few fun matches and doesn't really enter into any program just yet, and we're moaning about that. And it's like, I don't know. I'm just like, wait and see. Just wait and see. I think it's only fair for me if you go, in a year's time, if Punk is still where he is right now, then you can very legitimately tell me that they've wasted him, Bischoff. You can do that then, right? But right now, he's not even really been there that long.
The problem is, though, as well, is you've got the other side of the fence where people are like, oh, what, Punk's been out of wrestling for ages, he's come back and he's undefeated in AEW. Like, oh, God, what about putting the younger stars over and stuff? And it's like, literally, no one's ever happy with anything because...
No. Well, it's like that. Like, maybe they're leading somewhere with that. Punk has been able to pick his own opponents for some time and has not lost. Maybe there's a deliberate thing to that. Maybe someone's going to come along and call him on that bullshit. You don't actually know where they're going with it yet.
Yeah.
Because it's still all very new, isn't it?
Yeah. People just need to just fucking find entertainment in the things they watch. Not like us who just call out all the things that are wrong with everything that we see. But still.
Bitch about everything every week.
So yeah, I can care.
Whose turn was it? Your turn.
My turn now. Next highlights. Well, all of Rampage. But I want to start off with the opening match, the slugfest that was Bryan Danielson against Eddie Kingston. Fucking awesome. Awesome match between the two of them. They kind of set it up a little bit the previous week as well. So there was a little bit of animosity between the two of them going into this. And it was great. It was a proper brawler kind of slugfest. So stylistically, it was, I mean, it's a fucking typical Kingston match, but it was, Bryan Danielson going into deep waters and stuff. He's had similar stuff, a couple of weeks ago against Suzuki and stuff like that. But this is literally just let's beat the shit out of each other for 20 minutes, and it was great. I loved it.
You can just tell Danielson's just loving life at the minute, can't you?
Yeah, he's clearly just some like sadistic bastard, and he's like, please,
he's
chop me till I bleed, chop me till I bleed every week. He loves it. He loves it.
No, yeah, definitely. But couldn't disagree at all there, mate. My next one is actually Martin Seidel, right? Absolute high flying fun all round, Carl. I'm sure you can agree with this.
The third Seidel brother, Martin.
Yeah, I probably should have said versus or whatever there, but I was trying to sound like all the, like when people talk about like big boxing matches, like, but it didn't work out. Whatever. Point out my foibles, Carl. Jeez.
Just me being a cock. It just so happens that it's Matt Seidel, Mike Seidel. So yeah, Martin Seidel.
Yeah, so Martin would work.
Yeah. But no, I agree. From a stylistic standpoint, after that big brawler that we had to open the show, to have a flippy shit high flying thing follow it up was fantastic. I'm a firm fucking favorite, of a firm fan of Rampage. It's fast becoming my favorite fucking show of the week. They just pull it out the bag every time. It's only 1 hour. They managed to pull out like 2 or 3 matches every week that are just fucking brilliant, and they managed to accelerate feuds. That's all in an hour.
Honestly, I think there's something to be said for it being an hour. I think because they're so precious for the time, they just book it so carefully, and it really shows. Like you say, it's very rare you get a bad Rampage because they have to be very careful with the time. Yeah,
no, I agree. And the final highlight to talk about again for Rampage is the third match, which was the fucking absolute psychopath that is Brit Baker taking on Abaddon.
I've not seen Abaddon in a while.
Do you know what? Yeah. Me neither.
Comes out every Halloween. That's fine.
To be honest, there was a couple of things about this. So the commentary team gave her a bit more respect, and they weren't going, "Oh, she's just some fool who dresses up like a zombie." Like they were,
that was bad shit last time. They should not have done that.
Yeah, they were kind of more like, oh God, she is terrifying, and she is like possessed or whatever. Like they'd really kind of changed the tune on it, and I think that's fine. Kayfabe exists for a reason. We are meant to believe that there's some crazy people out there in the world. So
it was such a bad shout last time, though, wasn't it? It's like at no point would they ever have done that with like Kane. Like just some guy in a mask.
Well, exactly.
Like it's like baffling, absolutely baffling that they did that. But
why has he only got one sleeve? That's weird.
That is still pretty weird.
And one glove. Who is he? Michael Jackson.
But at least, like you say, that they've almost course corrected with that, and they're not sort of still pulling that shit now on commentary, which is good.
No, but I think Brit Baker, man, what a legend. Like, she is a badass. She, like, the match with Thunder Rosa, she's had a few absolute crazy ones. This time, again, going onto the thumbtacks and just getting the shit kicked out of her. She's just insane. Like,
I think she's proven, like, in many different senses, both on the mic, in the ring, what she's willing to sort of put herself through. Like, she's definitely proven why she is their women's champion.
Yeah, I agree. A fantastic champ as well that she is. So, looking forward to meeting her this month as well. Is it this month? I think it is we meet her.
It might be this month.
It is this month, end of the month. Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Brit, Sting, Bret Hart, Melina Perez as well. So, yeah, can't wait to meet her. She's fast become one of my favourite things of all of pro wrestling. So, yeah, can't
Things?
speak
You objectifying
higher of
women again, Carl? Things?
Did you just assume her pronoun?
Oh, damn. It's like the Uno reverse card over there, damn.
So, yeah. Yeah, another highlight there. And in terms of O'Shite, Anthony, not a single fucking one. How's that for you? How'd you like them apples?
Yeah.
Take that, you WWE.
Do you
marks.
like apples? Classic.
I thought this was fucking a stellar week for AEW. Yeah, I loved pretty much everything about it. As you can tell, there's no O'Shites. There was no random stuff on there that got put on the show that I just absolutely hated. So for me, it's getting a 4.5 out of 5. There was some stuff which, some of the matches from a pacing standpoint and things like that. There's a couple of which we didn't, mention as highlights, but they certainly weren't O'Shites. So, they didn't get it absolutely stellar perfect. But
if we're going to give NXT's a few minor botches a pass, then we're going to give them a pass on their O'Shites.
Absolutely.
It has to be egregious. Unless
Yeah.
sometimes we just want to moan about something. We don't really have rules here.
Yeah, we make it up. But yeah, it's getting a 4.5 from me, Anthony. Do you dare to dabble in such high territories?
I would actually agree with you on a 4.
Okay. Okay.
Like, I say agree with you. You didn't say a 4, so I don't agree with you at all. But no, I'd agree with you in the high territory. I would have to call it a 4. I don't think I can go to 4.5. That's because, as you know, I'm quite probably the way I rate is just like slightly different to you, because some that you've given 4 in the past, I'm like nah. Like, in hindsight, maybe I'll regret that one day. But I think this definitely deserved to be in the 4 territory, especially because, like, I don't know. For a week where I'm expecting like some fun and some gimmicky stuff because of the Halloween stuff, like this just landed better for me, and this was my more enjoyable week in wrestling. So, and I can't deny that. So, it's got to be a 4. Got to be.
I mean that they are high praise, high marks from you. To be fair, to give it a 4, so I'll take that. I won't argue too much. In terms of other promotions, stuff happened, and we didn't see it. So no highlights.
Ring of Honor's roster's gone. There you go. That's the other stuff.
Yeah, are we talking about that in the news? Actually, if not, we should probably mention that. But
I mean,
we did last week. We did last week.
Yeah, I was going to say we
were so cutting edge last week.
It was cutting edge. It was right on, like the minute it happened, because we're just on, like, just
how we do.
All over it, except this week because not much has happened. But yeah, we've already done it. Can't get over it.
Yeah, fair play. But yeah, so we didn't manage to catch any of the programming this week, unfortunately. But yeah, all in all, AEW, fantastic week. WWE, seen better. Need better at this point. So hopefully they step their game up as well. But yeah, that was this week in wrestling. And we will be back talking all the latest news and rumours after some words from the wonderful Georgia Smith.
Hey guys, it's Georgia Smith here, and you've heard me on A2theK. These guys are awesome. Check it out. A2theK.